Okay, I call to order the Lowell City Council special meeting for April 12th at 6:02. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bennett.
Here.
Councilor Harris.
Here.
Councilor Stratus.
Here.
Councilor Weathers.
Here.
Councilor Murray.
Here.
Okay. We have a complete set. Okay. Any changes to the agenda by anybody? Okay, wait a minute, let me get back on. Okay, not hearing, not seeing anything. First, discussion decision on bid received April 5th for the Maggie Osgood Library. Mr. Conley, you want to open this up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a brief budget summary that I'd like to present. I'd ask that everybody hold questions to the end. This will shouldn't take 5 minutes or so. Then I'll turn it over to Kurt. Kurt will go over the bid results and the bid alternates. Ultimately, what I'm hoping to achieve tonight is to answer any remaining questions that you might have before we move forward and to obtain an agreement and direction from City Council on which of these bid alternates we're going to select. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. All right, does everybody see what I have? Okay. So what I have on the left side of the screen, this is the cost estimate that we reviewed at your January meeting. We had an estimate with the base bid of $381,473. We had several bid alternates that we discussed at that time, some of which are included in what we put out there, some of which aren't. So we had the tile, we had roofing, but we kept the tile, roofing. Kurt and I decided not to move forward with that as it's not necessary at this time. We had the casework, which included all of the casework for the facility. HVAC upgrades, that included replacing the units. We determined that we could address that later if necessary as a separate project, but it wasn't necessary to move forward with that at this time. We had the fire alarm, which we kept. And if you added all those up, we had a construction cost of $545,513. And that includes the base bid plus alternates. We also had non-construction costs, which included permits. It included the Kurt's fees as the architect. It included some amounts that we put in there for equipment, communication equipment, such as cabling, IT stuff, furniture. We also had a construction contingency of $25,792. So the total non-construction costs were $130,542. So we had a total project budget that we were working off of $515,832. What I have on the right here is the bid tabulation from the April 5 bid opening. So with the lowest bidder, we had a base bid of $387,000, and the base bid includes doing all of the work to the building except for the alternates. You scroll back here to the bottom line. We had the alternate one, which was to replace the tile in the restrooms. And we included that because some work is going to be required in the restrooms, which will require the contractor to disturb the tile. If we didn't include this, then we would have some inconsistency in the tile. It wouldn't look good. So we included this in here. And we can see that those two, actually the estimate was higher than what we received. The new fire system, the estimate was pretty close to that. Data cabling, we had some dollar figures for data cabling in the original cost estimate under non-construction costs. After some discussion with Kurt, we decided to include that in the bid because it was advantageous, in our opinion, to have that coordinated with the general contractor. So that's why that was added. Then we also have casework B, C, and D. I have the drawing set pulled up here. Casework B is the casework that's along the wall on the southern and northern side, along with the service desk, the computer for the public access, and the workstation in the workroom. Casework C is the stacks. A portion of the stacks is some cases in the kids area and along the conference room wall. Casework D is some extra stacks and some extra casework in the kids area. Lastly, the project budget. After Kurt and I reviewed everything, we met yesterday, talked through the project budget. What I have here is a tabulation of the bid from Bridgeway. That includes the base bid, tile in the new restrooms, new fire alarm system, data cabling, Group B casework, Group C casework, for a total of $491,310. We include non-construction costs plus contingency, which is the same as what we originally had about $130,000. We had a budget for security cameras, access control, and intrusion detection that we added. We had some dollars included in here, but it wasn't enough. So I went ahead and added a line item for that. We also have a line item for the IT and phone system. I have a proposal from Lane Council of Governments to do that work. That includes a new phone system. It includes a new server. It includes migrating our finance system to the new facility. We had some amounts budgeted in this line item, but it's not enough. So I went ahead and added the full amount here. So that gives us non-construction costs. Add those two together, we have a total project cost of $660,316. Our funding sources are here. That totals, here's a total. So that gives us an additional amount that we need of $112,000. We received an ARPA allocation of $240,000. That's from the American Rescue Plan Act, the big COVID bill that Congress passed last year. The Treasury Department changed the rules on that so that we can claim up to our entire allocation for revenue replacement. You can use revenue replacement dollars for just about anything that has to do with providing services as a government. If we were to, and I allocated $140,000 to the general fund. If we were to use that portion of ARPA funding to cover this shortfall, we would have $27,000 left over. And that's how I'm proposing to meet that shortfall. So that's an overview of my budget summary, and I'll turn it over to you, Kurt, to talk a little bit more in detail.
Thanks, Jeremy. So I'm just gonna, Jeremy, I'm gonna share the bid results, and or maybe why if you could just do that. You're either gonna need to give me the ability to share a screen or show the bid results. You should be able to do it now. Okay. So we've seen. Are you seeing the bid results?
Yes.
Okay. So I have presented the project to multiple council meetings, and so I think, with the exception of our newest councilor, I think most of you know the scope of the project, and I can go over anything you would like in the project. But I was just gonna, what I was planning to do right now is just hit upon the alternates and just reinforce what's in the alternates. And so just to back up a second, the way that construction bidding works is mostly in a public sector mode. The bid requirements are generally organized into a base bid, which is what and then bid alternates, and bid alternates are done in the reason to do bid alternates is that they're separate from the base bid in one of two ways, and we chose to do those as additive to the base bid, so meaning that the items in the alternate are not in the base bid, they're in addition to. You can do a subtractive alternate, which means it's in the base bid and you get a negative number to take it out. And the reason why you do that is for two reasons. One is we want to make sure that we get a bid that is a responsive bid that's within the budget of the agency or the city or school district or whoever it is. And so doing bid alternates as a way of giving us a higher degree of certainty that we're going to get a bid that we can move forward with. And that was effective here. The fact that we have two bids that are within $1,000 of each other, and they're within a few $1,000s of the cost estimate, is a good sign that the bidders understood the information and interpreted it the same. And it also, given it so close to the cost estimate, tells us that not only is the estimate valid, but more importantly, that the scope of work is, those things all together tells us that the bid results are capturing an adequate scope of work. And we have a bid that's within the base bid is within the budget, and we certainly can move forward with that. So that part was successful. The other thing that bid alternates allow us to do is to evaluate the specific cost of some items and make determinations accordingly based on their value. So that's what I want to talk about here. So I'm just going to hit each of the alternates. Alternate one, as Jeremy said, is just simply take out the existing tile in the restrooms and replace it with new tile. And that will, we have the women's room will be a little bit larger. So we're going to have a new floor area that's going to get new tile. We've taken out some plumbing fixtures, so we will not have areas of repaired tile. We'll have new. And then in the men's room, there's some damaged tile and whatnot. So we're going to ultimately just have a cleaner, newer looking bathroom. And the cost estimate for this was about twice the bid result. So not only, in my mind, is it good value to the, or is it beneficial to have the new tile, it's also a really good dollar number that we received. So I'm recommending moving forward with the tile. Option two is adding a fire alarm system. So fire alarm system in a commercial building is basically a smoke detection, heat detection system that includes strobe lights and audible or horn detector, like you have in a fire smoke detector at home. They're much more sophisticated, they're integrated, the strobe lights all flash the same so that we don't cause epilepsy in those who might be inclined to that with strobing lights. Building doesn't have it now. Based on the size of the building, it's actually not required. And the bid amount of 10,000 is right on the estimate. And I think that's a good value. It's you know, considering you're adding tile for about the same amount, you're getting a safety feature to the building. That's a really good system. The system will also be a bit. It has the ability to be monitored remotely. So at 2 in the morning, fire alarm system goes off. Jeremy gets a phone call. Police get a phone call and whatnot. So that system is monitored, not so that's a positive. So I recommend that. I certainly recommend the fire alarm system. Alternate three, the data cabling. You know, 10, 15 years ago, data cabling was almost always done outside of the work of the construction. It was done directly by the owner as a move-in item, kind of as part of plugging in all the computers and phones and things like that. That's still an option here, although it just gets us a pretty good price for this, and having it done by the general contractor in the way that it's been described in the documents is going to be efficient. It will also just mean things will work a little bit smoother in terms of move-in. One of the risks when the owner does data cabling after the fact, when that data cabling work goes in and it damages the wall, damages the ceiling, which will happen. It's not the contractor's responsibility as contractors in fixing those things. And so when it's done by the contractor, it's going to get fixed. Those things will just simply get fixed. So there's a value there. So those things are all relatively modest in cost, and they all have some value, short-term and long-term, to the city, and certainly recommend doing those. The more complicated items are the casework items. And we did these, we knew that this improvement, we were going to be, using all of the budget we can to do as much as we can. And we knew that there may not be enough budget for library storage and library components. So we've talked about a variety of options, from relocating existing equipment to adding new as custom casework by Cabinet Shop, which is what these numbers reflect, buying furniture systems that are products from various companies. We've actually, as you recall, we explored work with Oregon Corrections Enterprise and actually got a proposal from them that parallels these numbers, and they were about twice the combined amount, unfortunately. And then this also had been suggested, this library shelving could be built by community volunteers. And so what we decided to do was reorganize all the casework in the building into 4 groups. And I'm just going to repeat some of what Jeremy showed. The blue items are in the city hall in the common area, the restrooms, city hall counter. Those are casework group A items, and those are in the base bid. So we didn't get a separate bid number for that casework. That's just in the base bid, and we're moving forward with those. And then the casework groups B, C, and D were tied to alternates. So as Jeremy said, alternate 4 are the items that are in this purple, the perimeter shelving that wraps around the windows, the service desk, and some shelving in the library workroom and the work counter. Those are alternate 4. That amount was about $26,000 in its bid amount. Maybe I would be happy if that number came in closer to 20,000, but it's not too far off, and I think that's a pretty good number. We really would like to see that shelving along the perimeter get integrated with the building. We certainly would like to have custom counters for the service desk, and I think it's a good improvement to the project, and recommend that we move forward with alternate 4, and based on the bid results. Alternate 5 is the orange items, and these are the shelving that's not against the perimeter walls. And these, we got a high number. This alternate was about $40,000. And that, quite frankly, is very surprising to me that it's that high. We organized that we had designed all of the shelving so that we're replicating sizes that are available from a variety of products that are available on the market, 3 feet wide by the various heights and depths. And we did that because with custom casework, you can make anything you want, but we did it in a way that we could go whether it's through the web or through another RFP, we can buy products that are the same exact sizes for these. And I believe that there are multiple options for available products that are similar and that will look fine, look sufficient, that we can probably procure for a lot less than $40,000. So I don't know that I'm not actually providing a recommendation right now. I think that we don't move forward with these initially and continue to explore other product options before we commit. The bid instructions indicate that the bidders responded to indicated that the bids are to be honored for 60 days. That could be challenging, but that's an expectation that we all have. So we do have the option of not moving forward with alternate 5 now, and get construction started and look at some other options. And if within I wouldn't wait 60 days, closer to 30 days is probably what I would not want to exceed. If we decide then that this is still a good option for us, then we could add that through a change order for the same amount. So that would be a scenario to explore. And then group D, which is not colored, is the shelving that essentially fills out the space. And this is something that Tim had brought up months ago, that we really need all the shelving. And so, we've got a group of library volunteers that are working through the existing collections and trying to determine what we're going to have in terms of collections to move in initially. And I don't think they're far enough along yet to quantify the amount of shelving, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that in the short term, we don't need the Group D shelving. And I think we just don't accept that alternate. And if we want to buy more product now or later, we can always do that. One of the advantages of some of the products that we're talking about is they're metal, they're of pretty standard finishes. My expectation is some of these things will be available in the exact same model with the exact same colors 5 years from now. So if, as a library grows and needs more shelving, they can buy something that matches. So that's kind of a summary of the alternate. So just in recap, I think we should move forward with 1 through 4, assuming you're comfortable with the budget as chairman is discussing it. Hold off on a commitment to alternate 5 and just ignore alternate 6, or simply just not accept alternate 6. And any other questions about the improvement overall that you might have, or I could answer? Okay. Jeremy, I'll turn it back to you.
I do have one, Kurt. This is Don. What you're going to be putting in there as the B ones against the wall, whatever we put in there, they're going to have a consistent look for what we're going to be eventually going with C and D. Whether I know we don't know what C and D are, but some sort of I want to keep it uniform so it doesn't look like it's a patchwork. That'd be my only thought about that. I think it's a good idea to do the ones on the wall, get them set up, and then like say as we get closer to the date and everything, as see what our needs are, look at the C's and D's. I think that's a good idea.
The casework that's in B along the library in the purple, that is all a hardwood veneer cabinetry. So that's going to look like wood. We have some options in terms of species, but it's going to look, it's just going to look really nice. Okay. It's going to have the warmth of wood. And doing that all along the perimeter was important to kind of have that warmth around that space.
Okay.
I'm going to share with you this is, I think this might be in the packet that you have, and this was the cost estimate report that was provided at the January board meeting. And the tail end of this document included some product information. So keep in mind, I'm going to zoom down here, but I want you to keep in mind this wood end panel. This is a pretty standard metal library shelving that has adjustable shelves. This happens to be single-sided, but you can see these are a 3-foot module, 12 inches deep. And this is going to be our least expensive option. Obviously, it doesn't look the same as the wood, but it does. It comes with accessories. So what you're seeing here, and I'm going to zoom in here, this is actually an end panel in wood that is available from the manufacturer. That is just like it says, the end panel, and you can get some accessories for shelving and other things. Okay. But the shelvings with the books is just the metal. We can also get end cap or top panels or tops that are of the same wood that goes on top. So the units that are in the middle of the room, they're 6 feet high, or excuse me, they're 5 feet high. They're 6 inches high. So we will see the tops. So that's why I think we can find. I think that there are viable options that are a combination of wood end panels and metal that are going to look just fine and going to be able to still have the warmth and look suitable in the room. And we did some pricing over the last few days. That the problem that we were running into is that it's relatively easy to get pricing on the actual shelving, but you have to commit into an order before you get any shipping information. So exactly what these options cost, we don't know yet. We have some time to work that out. But Don, that's how I was thinking we could handle this and the organization of how these alternates were put together.
Okay, was the alternates that were expensive, was those all hardwood also? Is that the reason they were versus being metal?
You know, I'm surprised by them. I'm mostly surprised by 5 and 6. And they are all hardwood.
Okay, because they're about the same price. Everybody has the same price.
Yeah, and I was told today that at least two case workshops, both are Eugene based, as I understand it, provided estimates, and they were within a few thousand of each other.
Okay.
And so, you know, these bid amounts are higher than estimates, which is always frustrating but you know, it happens with individual items. You know, generally what happens in a bid results is that when they're close to an estimate, some things are very high relative to the estimate and other things are very low. And then you add them all up together and you get pretty close. So I was surprised by the casework alternates.
Yeah. Okay, I like what you presented. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Kurt. I guess back to Jeremy.
Councilor Weathers has a hand up.
Yeah, I like what you sent us this evening and explaining that. That's what some of the missing piece was for me. So I support your recommendation as well. In terms of alternates 1 through 4 for the bidder.
Yes. Anybody else? What now, Jeremy?
This is Jimmy.
I think Jimmy has a question. Why don't you go ahead, Jimmy?
Or not a question, but I just want to second Councilor Weathers. I appreciate, Kurt, the additional information you sent tonight. And I'd just like to add that wood end cap, that's actually what we use in my library at U of O. So if anyone wants to go on a tour and see that kind of situation, I'd be more than happy to take you. And I think you'd all like the look.
Great.
Thank you. Yes, Maureen.
So if we do that, then back to Jeremy's sheet on the project costs and funding sources, then that would, for purposes of awarding this evening, then that takes the 40,657 of alternate 5 out of that particular thing. We're not going to approve that at this point. Is that correct? Because what we're doing tonight is awarding the contract to Bridgeway, not approving above and beyond that this evening. Is that correct?
That would be my thought, Jeremy. That'd be my thought. 5 and 6 would be out. Only 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be in.
Yeah, what I'm asking for tonight is we're not making an official award. We'll come back to you with a contract for you to vote on and approve. What I'm asking for tonight is if you agree with the letter that Kurt prepared on the review of bid results, I would recommend a motion to accept his recommendations, and then we'll get moving on to contract documents, which we'll present to you.
If I could also just interject, process-wise, we need to, once for procurement law, there's a 7-day protest period will start once a public announcement of the owner's intention to award is released publicly, and that's what happened after tonight's meeting, and then that would give 7 days for someone to file a protest before the contract should be signed.
Was the idea being that we would need a motion to accept his bid with the idea that we'd come back later and finalize it in the contract? At the next meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend a motion to approve the review of bid results as presented by Wilson Architecture.
That's all we need to say.
And accepting alternates 1 through 4 to proceed with what?
That's included in his letter.
So are we ready?
Yep.
Gail?
I think so. Does anybody
Yeah.
else have more questions? Well, we can have questions after she makes the motion. Please, Maureen, go ahead.
Sure, I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the review of bid results from Wilson Architecture.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid results from the Kurt Wilson letter. Do we have further questions, comments?
And I guess with that, the bid results and his recommendation. I'm sorry, I should have added that in there.
Okay. We can accept it that way. Anything else? All those in favor of accepting Kurt Wilson's bid results and recommendations for the Maggie Osgood Oz Library, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. Okay. What else now, Jeremy? Is that it?
I don't have anything further. That accomplishes what I hope to accomplish tonight.
Good. And so you can go forward, make the announcement, wait for the 7 days, and then bring it back to us, hopefully at the next council meeting, which is 7 days away, or you be looking at the first one of next month.
It would, could you speak to
Wait a
that,
minute.
answer that question as far as the process, Kurt, and timeline?
Okay. Okay, you get back with us.
Well, I'm asking Kurt if he could probably answer that better than me if you want to.
I think we would be fine if we, any planned meeting, I didn't catch when off the top of my head, I forgot when the meetings are scheduled. If
Would
there's
be
a planned meeting within 2 weeks, I would say that would be fine. If not, we probably ought to, we should probably get action within 2 weeks, would be my recommendation.
Okay. I'll let you get with Kurt on that, and you can, we've got a meeting in another week, and if you have to give 7 days notice, that'll only be 6 if you go out tomorrow, so that wouldn't be 7. So we can have a special meeting after that, or we can bring it in for the first meeting of next month, however works the best.
Okay,
Okay, I'll leave that in your ballpark.
okay.
Actually, Tuesday would be 7 days, Mayor.
Okay. You're right. I was thinking we do these things on Tuesday, but this is Tuesday. No, it'll be tomorrow. You'll be announcing it.
It'll be tomorrow.
It'll be Wednesday. So
You
that's
count
day
the
one.
days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday at 7 p.m. is 7 days and 1/2
Okay.
hour.
Okay. Okay. You convinced me. I'm all with you then. Okay, if you can work that fast, Jeremy, getting it all done, tying up the loose ends and everything, I'd say put it on the agenda for next week.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay. I appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or thoughts? If not, we're adjourned at about 6:33.
Okay.
Everybody have a good
Thank you,
evening.
guys. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
I'll go ahead
Thank you.
and
Good
end the meeting.